Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, all. I think we are in Unit 4, that is polymorphism. So, few points from that. Actually, the memory management is not part of polymorphism itself. Still, it is in your syllabus, it is mentioned in polymorphism. So, we covered that memory management in previous lectures. Today we'll start with polymorphism and virtual functions, right? So I'll start screen share here. Just wait for a few minutes. I'll start screen share. Is it visible? Is it visible? Put it in chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pranav. So I think we gone through this thing earlier while we are having brief descriptions on OP terminologies. At that time, we gone through this polymorphism, right? So from that also some stuff is added here and in those slides or as well. So we'll start today with this new OP feature, that is polymorphism, right? What that polymorphism means? So it is, a Greek which combine poly and morphism. Poly is basically many, whereas morphism is treated to be as form or behavior. So this polymorphism means having many form, or you can, in other way around, you can say one interface having many behavior is referred as polymorphism. So polymorphism occurs when actually it is occurs where you found hierarchy of classes, even that hierarchy is related by inheritance. In that moment you will get polymorphism, or in that case it is occurred, right? What actually this polymorphism is, it gives a call to member function. In this polymorphism, you will get a member function call, and after calling that member function, execution is depend on, calling functionality. So it is basically called on type of object, right? So polymorphism basically called on type of object. How actually this type of object and type of reference it is differed, no? I'll give you explanation with code, right, related to polymorphism after few minutes. Till that time, just keep in mind that polymorphism depends, or rather execution of member function is depends on type of object, right? So it is basically a polymorphism. You can say many forms are there for a function and for operators as well, right? So there are certain types available for this polymorphism. So what all those types are? Actually, polymorphism has two types. One is compile time. I think we have gone earlier as well with those types, right? Polymorphism has two types. One is compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. What actually that means is when call get resolved at compile time, it is compile time polymorphism, and when function call gets resolved at runtime, it is runtime polymorphism. So how you can achieve compile time polymorphism? You can achieve by method overloading and operator overloading in C++, right? So method overloading and operator overloading are two steps. By using those, no, you can achieve compile time polymorphism. There are two again type of runtime polymorphism. Basically, it is a single type which is called function overloading. Sorry, function overriding. But still, two types are mentioned. One is virtual function, and another one is function overriding. By using virtual function, you are actually uh, what we say. You are actually having that function overriding, right? So for function overriding, you need to use virtual function as well. But we'll check all those terminologies with different slides, right? So there are basically two types. One is compile time and another one is runtime. Whereas we can achieve compile time polymorphism with method overloading and operator overloading, and what runtime polymorphism using function overriding, right? Are you with me? No? Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay, okay. Uh, please, please be with me for 35 minutes because see, and those are important steps. Even virtual function is also important. So we'll wind it up within short time span. Still, just be with me. This is not a full 1 hour lecture. I'll try to complete it in short time span, right? So be with me. Uh, then next is type of polymorphism. There are two type of polymorphism. One is compile time that I already told you about compile time and runtime. So this is, compile time is called, early binding or static binding, whereas runtime is also called as dynamic or late binding, right? What is compile time? As I already mentioned that when call to the function is resolved at compile time, it is called compile time polymorphism. It is also called static polymorphism, false polymorphism, early binding. So any of the word from this is used, it is same, right? Whether whether your exam there is called a static polymorphism, false polymorphism, or early binding, it is simply a compile time polymorphism. So how we can achieve it? By using function overloading and operator overloading. So operator overloading is the process of making an operator to exhibit different behavior and different instances is known as operator overloading. We'll go with operator overloading in detail, but just for time being, keep in mind that operator overloading is, a process of making an operator to exhibit different behavior at different instances. It is same applicable for function overloading as well. Function overloading is using a single function name to perform different tasks, right? So we'll go into detail of operator and function overloading after few slides. Till that time, just keep in mind that we can achieve compile time polymorphism using operator overloading and function overloading. When now next is runtime polymorphism. So when the function call is resolved at runtime, it is called as runtime polymorphism. It also has different names for this runtime polymorphism. You call this runtime polymorphism as dynamic polymorphism, you call it as true polymorphism, you call it as late binding. So all are same as that of runtime polymorphism. So how we can achieve this? By using function overriding and virtual functions. So what actually function overriding is? When you define a function which is there in base class, you also can define that same function inside derived class as well, right? That is simply called, function overriding in C++, right? We'll go again into detail for function overriding in further slides, right? So a virtual function is another way. Next is virtual function. So virtual function is another way to implementing runtime polymorphism in C++. It is special function defined in base class and redefined in derived class. So it is again a same function which is mentioned in base class as well as in derived class, right? But it is called as, it is redefinition and derived class. So to declare that function, no, what you need to write in base classes, you need to use a virtual keyword. That virtual keyword you need to write in front of function signature, right? If you write that virtual keyword in front of function signature, then that function is treated to be as virtual function, right? Now, we'll go into detail of virtual functions. Rather, we start with virtual function and overriding. So, polymorphism types we start with functions and rather virtual functions and uh, function overriding. Are you with me? Are you listening? Are you with me? Okay. So, okay, thank you. So what actually virtual function is? It is, same member function if you declare it in base class and again you redefine that function into derived class. That function is treated to be as virtual function. But for that, what you need to do is you need to use a virtual keyword in C++. Can anyone tell me how you uh, now you see, rather you told me about no how you rather give me answer about no why those virtual functions are used, rather need of virtual function when you call that the function should be virtual or you need to make that function virtual inside uh, any class, rather base derived relation. Yeah, one answer is uh, in diamond problem, right? That is a different thing. Who told me about this? Just let me. Okay, Vivek has given answer about diamond problem. No, that thing is different. Even though keyword is same, that is called what that thing is called, which is used in diamond problem. Vivek, what that thing is called? कोणी सांगेल का रे काय म्हणत होतो आपण त्याला काय म्हटलं होतं आपण त्याला इनहेरिटन्सच्या केसमध्ये ओके सी तुम्हाला वाचलं पाहिजे वाचल्याशिवाय नाही लक्षात येणार राईट सो ज्या काही नॉट रिअली नो 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 that is called Vivek is asking about no I think his answer is okay it is same for virtual keyword which is there in inheritance. So it is not multi-level. It is called, virtual inheritance, right? So in that case, it is called virtual. You are using that virtual keyword for a class, right? So for you can say a relation in between two classes, right? You use that keyword for inheritance relationship. For that reason, it is called a virtual inheritance. This thing is different. Since we are using that same keyword here, but that keyword is used, we are using that keyword for function, right? So it is a virtual function. We are going to mention that keyword in front of virtual keyword in front of function signature, right? So what actually is there in virtual function? So member functions get called depending on type of object rather than type of pointer. Such functionality is called a virtual function, or you can say, see, one important thing that you need to keep in into your mind is that when programmer is going to declare a function virtual is if programmer identifies that the function which he is going to use in base class is logically incomplete, then the programmer decide that I need to make that function as virtual. If that function is logically incomplete, right? That means not syntactically. I said logically incomplete. In that case, the programmer decide that make that function as virtual and let know who's going to use the base class for his derived class. Let them complete the definition for that function, right? So when programmer finds that any function is logically incomplete, at that time he is using this keyword in front of that function, right? So if you declare that function virtual inside base class, no, it will remain virtual for all its derived class. No need to mention virtual keyword again in front of the same signature of that function. So, but you need to use a same signature in function of rather in base class as well as in derived class. So your class is consisting with one virtual function, no, or at least a one virtual function of pure virtual function. At that time, no, that class is called as polymorphic class, right? What is pure virtual function? We're going to see in further slides, right? So what actually polymorphic class is? A class with having at least one virtual function or pure virtual function. At that time, that class is called as polymorphic class. Okay, so we'll see details later. Just we'll see one example for this, no? Okay, my screen is visible to you, no? I am in Dave C++ ID. Is my screen visible? Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use two classes. Uh, Class A is base class, and then class B is derived from A, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a same function. I think we have gone through this example earlier. Still, I'm going to use a same function which is there in base as well as in okay. So I'm going to use the same function. Okay, so class A and class B having same functions in it. So next is I'm going to write a main function wherein I'm going to create an object. So object 1 is for class A and object obj2 is object of class B. Now I'm just creating a pointer for class and I'm passing address of upcasting, downcasting. I think we've gone through this thing, right? So I'm just passing object of class B to this pointer and then I'm going to call a display function, right? Okay, so it is compiled fine way. Now, next is okay. What is there as output? What is there in output? Can anybody tell me what is there in output? Are you with me? No? Are you with me? Okay. So what is there in base class? So base class function is access. So normally when you call the member function, no, the member function basically actually called on pointer where on which you called, right? So it is no a base class pointer, right? So it is a base class pointer wherein star p is base class pointer wherein you store actually object of class B. If you are there in object of class rather B, it should have this function. Why? Because it is this object's function or this class B's function. So it should call this function. But normally it calls on type of pointer. Now the type of pointer is A. So for that reason, it will call this function. So what we need to make here is I need to write a virtual keyword here, right? If I made that function as virtual, then just see what will happen here, right? I'll not change anything but to write a virtual function in front of void display, which is there in base class. Okay, so what actually is displaying is what actually there in output? I am in derived class, right? So which function is called by this object even though it is base pointer and object is derived object, which function it is called is going to call as class B's function is calling this time, right? So when you just hold on for a while. Okay, so when you write virtual in front of this function, no, it will call a function which is from class B. So as and when you are going to write virtual here, it will call class B's display function, since syntax for both the functions are same here, right? So it will call. So in that case, when you write virtual, no, the call is runtime call. At runtime, it is actually decide about what function I need to call. So object is of type, or rather object is OBA2 of type B. So it will call no on type of object. So if it is of type B or class B, it will call this function, right? So this is simply is there in virtual function. It depends on type of object. Now object is obj2 and type of object is class B. At that time it is called this function. Now how it is actually achieved inside this compiler is it will maintain two different things called virtual pointer and virtual table. Based with those two things, it will call a different function here. Normally behavior is different, but when you write virtual in front of the function which is there in base class, the functionality is different. So we'll see, just hold on for a while. Where it is? Okay. So when you write actually a virtual function at that time, or when you write a virtual keyword for any class for any function, no, at that time compiler implicitly creates a virtual table for that class, right? So each and every class which holds the virtual function has a one table and that table is called virtual table or V table. What is there in that table? It is simply static array, or you can say it is a two column table wherein which class is this and what functions you need to call, which is mentioned there, right? So a virtual table contains one entry for each virtual function that can be called by object of class, right? So for that virtual function, each and every virtual function which is mentioned in that class, entry of that virtual function is given in virtual table, right? What actually that entry means, it's simply a function pointer, right? In that case, when you write a virtual in front of that function, the function pointer of that function which is stored in that virtual table, which is stored in free store. That virtual table is stored in free table. And how actually that virtual table should be accessible? It, this function, sorry, this table is accessed by using virtual pointer. So as and when you are going to write virtual keyword inside that class of keyword anywhere, it is going to create an pointer which is stored inside object, right? So each and every object or each and every class which contains virtual function, the object of that class also contain virtual pointer, right? So compiler implicitly adds that virtual pointer, and that virtual pointer actually points to virtual table, right? So it is actually set automatically, right? Virtual pointer is set automatically as and when you create an object for virtual object for class which holds the virtual function. No, at that time virtual pointer is set automatically and it starts pointing to virtual table, which actually stores function pointer for that class, right? So it is there in object only, right? So all things are implicitly there inside those classes and add by compiler, right? So as and when you write virtual keyword inside for any function or for any class at that time, it is that virtual table is created and pointers are there inside object as well, right? So for that reason, no, this call is resolved at runtime. What function should be called is decided at runtime based on type of object, and this type of this type of polymorphism is also called runtime polymorphism, or you also say that it is late binding, right? So actually compiler compiler binds the function with a calling function lately when you call the object based on that type of object function is called, right? So this is about no virtual table and virtual pointer, and this is example that we gone through. uh, Up to this, is it clear? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? Up till virtual pointer, virtual table, is it clear to you? Any doubts? Any doubts related to this? Any doubt related to this? Okay, so this is about virtual functions and virtual table and virtual pointer. As and when you write virtual keyword for any member function or for any class, virtual table and virtual pointers are created. Right now, we'll see one more addition to that. Since I already told you about virtual functions are incomplete in nature, logically incomplete in nature, that means those functions you can rewrite or redefine inside derived class. So one might say that if it is incomplete, why to write in Blaze class itself, right? If it is incomplete, no, let the programmer who is going to write a derived class, let them write that function. So that functionality is also there. Why to write that incomplete function? Just make it, complete incomplete. At that time, you write that function or redefine or define that function inside derived class, and that thing is there as well, which is called oh sorry, which is called pure virtual function. Now, what is pure virtual function? Is the function which is is equated to 0 is called pure virtual function. So if you write a function without body, at that time you say that that function is virtual function, right? So I'll tell you about virtual function. So this function, I think we made it virtual. If I don't want to write anything here, I simply write, this. So this kind of thing, is, you can say, a pure virtual function. But this is not syntactically correct. So you need to remove those curly braces as well. And if you write that equal to 0 in front of virtual function, this function is treated to be as pure virtual function. If you write no, or if you equate that virtual function to 0 at that time, the function is treated to be as pure virtual function. Right? Now, one more addition in that is, if your if your class contains such pure virtual functions, or the functions which are the virtual functions which are equated to 0 or pure virtual functions, at that time that class is called as abstract class, right? Abstract again is incomplete, you can say. So when you write, or when you equate that virtual function to 0, or when you write a pure virtual function inside the class, then that class is treated to be as abstract class, or you can say that class is abstract class or incomplete class, right? You cannot create object of that class, right? When you want to, or you want to create an abstract of object of that class, you are not uh, allowed to create object for that class, right? So if if you are writing pure virtual functions inside base class, and if you create a derived class, so those are there inside derived class as well. And if you are not going to provide a definition for that function inside derived class, or if you are not going to write again that pure virtual function inside derived class, even you cannot create object of derived class as well, right? Again, that derived class become abstract class as well, right? मी काय म्हणतोय समजलं का तुम्हाला? मी काय सांगितलं कळलं का तुम्हाला आता? Are you with me? So pure virtual function must be overridden and derived class. काय सांगितलं? काय सांगितलं मी सांगा? Anyone, just unmute yourself and tell me. Please unmute yourself and tell me. Anyone? Okay. So, okay, let it be. So, pure virtual function, you need to override the function which is there, right? Just like, this. Uh, Hold on for a while. Right. So, I'm actually creating, writing virtual function inside base class A, and base class A is inherited and derived class B. But for that derived class, I'm not going to provide a definition for this pure virtual function. So theoretically, if you check, no, you also cannot create object of class B, since we are not providing definition for this virtual function. So the reason this class is also treated to be as abstract class. Even class A is as well even class A as well as abstract class. We are not providing a definition for virtual function which is mentioned in class A in class B, for the reason class B is also treated to be as abstract class, right? So we'll try to create an object and see the error which are Yes. See, cannot declare a variable obj to be of abstract type B because the following virtual function are pure within B. Since it is pure virtual function inside class A, it is and A is inherited in class B, it is there inside class B as well. So this is a pure virtual function. For that reason, you are not allowed to create the object. If you are writing a definition for that, then and then only you are allowed to create an object for that class. Yes, it is executing. So just yes. So it is there and derived classes displayed. So for pure virtual function, you need to provide, you need to compulsorily provide the definition, right, inside derived class. This functionality is there in Java as well, or you can say a class which is having all the all the functions which are pure virtual function at that time, this that class is treated to be as an interface, right? And interface is there in Java. If your class is having pure virtual functions or all pure virtual functions, at that time the class which holds all the pure virtual functions is referred as interface, right? So interface is there in Java as well. Just keep in mind that if your class holds all virtual functions, at that time that class is treated to be as interface, right? So this is all about polymorphism and virtual function and all. Uh, just hold on.